one of the last pieces of advice here is whether you're in the part-time, full-time, or even any college program, or just like anything in general, um, I would strongly high advise each and every one of you guys to go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone around you. Get to know everyone for a bit. And it does take a lot of like getting out of your comfort zone. And it's not easy. When I never initiated at all like when I was in school. I just let people come talk to me. But if you make that first initiation, you can meet the right connections. You could turn around your experience. You could you could hit your goals. You're more likely to. It doesn't guarantee everything, but just try to like get out of your comfort zone for something like that'll be greater long term. And that's the thing I really wish I did in my part-time MBA program. If one thing wasn't working for me, and then do another thing. It's Rashil here. Welcome back. So today, I'm gonna talk about a full-time MBA, versus a part-time MBA, and then I'm also gonna talk about online MBAs, and I'm gonna talk about exec MBAs, and then I'm just gonna illustrate the pros and cons, for them, what they are, what careers you should expect from them, what courses you might see in an MBA, and yeah, so there's no like structure to this video. I really should have like put some structure into this, but I guess I'm just kind of like making it unstructured. So they all have like the same courses. But most of them really focus on like theory. There's some electives that may focus on like tax or like business softwares. But those are usually electives. Most of them are just like the core courses are very like, and a lot of them consist of like statistics, accounting, basic economics, like business intro to business courses, marketing, pricing, and so on, like management, leadership, or business ethics. It's really about the business world, all theoretical. It doesn't like teach you how to run a business. It doesn't teach you. It doesn't really teach you how to like deal with customers. It doesn't really teach you how to like use softwares. So that's just a misconception I want to throw out, and a lot of people a lot of people have that misconception when they sign up for the program. So I just wanted to like throw in that, and I'm gonna be as unbiased in this video as I possibly can. I'm not gonna try to make opinions or remarks, and because a lot of this stuff is very personal. I'm not trying to like influence anyone or anything. Um, so yeah. Again, lots of accounting, finance, and then there's some like data electives, accounting electives, marketing electives, entrepreneurship electives you could take. So yeah, they teach you like basic investing, basic marketing, raising capital, just stuff you may already know. So I want to quickly make a remark. I was an applied economics major in my undergrad. So I've taken a lot of accounting, statistics, finance, economics, and a lot of a lot not everything, but a lot of the classes I took in the program I already took during my undergrad, and my program didn't offer like prereq credits. So I just want to like point that out. If you had an undergrad like a like a similar or the same undergrad major, you might not want to do that for your grad program. So I just want to like throw that out there. Because like honestly, if you like know what you're learning, it's not going to be as interesting. You're not learning as much, truthfully. I think you should definitely consider that. And then I should probably talk about like the full time and part time programs. I'll get to the online fast track. And then what else? There's the fast track and then executive. I'll get to those a little later and kind of describe what they are, what you might expect. So my institution, my grad institution, they offered an online MBA, a part-time MBA, and an executive MBA. They didn't offer a full-time program, but um, yeah. Um, basically, a full-time MBA is an MBA, but you're a full-time student. So you would generally have like classes in the daytime, and you would take classes in the daytime, and then typically there would be networking events and other like case competitions and career fairs and a lot of like networking business stuff, clubs and stuff would all take play in the daytime. You would take a full course load, um and then it's basically like being a full-time undergrad student, basically, in terms of how your day goes. Versus the part-time MBA, mine was an evening MBA program, just to be specific. But the part-time MBA program, you would either have like classes on the weekends, classes on like evenings. Since I was an evening MBA, my classes were in the evenings, and essentially, the part-time MBA it's for working professionals. You typically students would work full time and then take classes after their work. And I just wanna make something clear. You don't have to work full time. You don't have to work at all. My program in particular, they gave me the option to even take full time classes. It's just that the classes are offered in the evenings. But typically there would be like just they would take part time classes at night. They would take like 2 to 3 years to finish versus like the full time MBA would take 1 to 2 years. They're all like the same curriculum, so they have the same courses. That's the same with online MBA, same with executive MBA, fast track as well. And then fast track is something that you finish in like 1 year or so. I don't really know much about that. Online MBA, everything's online. I think some classes have lectures. Some classes are just self-paced. I do believe there are like a fair share of group projects there. And then executive MBA, typically, your company pays for it. Tuition's a little more expensive. But yeah, all have the same curriculum, essentially. And then, let's see. Tuition. I know executive MBA is like very expensive, but usually a program would cost around like 30 to 80K or 50 to 80K. Depends on your state. The program really fast time track, full track. But one of the great things about the part-time MBA is it might have the same cost as a full-time MBA program, but your you could like work your way. You could like work and make some of that money back, so it'd be like less expensive. You could also get like scholarships at both places, but a full-time program it wouldn't really, well, there are some exceptions. students are allowed to work, but it's just less flexible. So it's a little because classes are in the daytime, versus it being the part time in the evening or weekends. So it's just a little harder time wise to work. And then usually you're taking a full load, so it's just not really a program oriented for full time work. But if you I think you can still work if you want. I know some programs like make exceptions for people that work. They allow them to go part-time status and pay part-time tuition. I mean, it really depends on the institution. I don't know like too much about it. But yeah. And then also the thing about the part-time MBA program, like I said earlier, I'm not gonna try to like push opinions too far, but I just have to like kind of be real about it. I mean, you know, the students are just busy. Students don't have time to like emotionally invest in like peers, click groups, clubs, activities. They barely even have time to just like even for their academics, let alone all this stuff. So I mean, of course, like they would like the the program's just not going to be as strong, and that's just the reality of it. So in a way, it feels like people are just there for the degree. You know, and which there is truth to it. Um, people are there for the degree. People just want to get in and get out. People aren't very like emotionally invested into it. People have work. People have children. People are older. You're getting that type of clicks from the MBA, the part time MBA, versus the full time MBA. People hang around after class. There's so much like it feels like a full time school. Coming in. I did the part time MBA, but I had the expectations that it was gonna be like another undergrad experience, which it really turned out to not be an undergrad experience. It turned out to be more like a community college, quite frankly. So I mean, there's nothing bad with it, but like I'm just saying that it's not what I expected. Um, but it is what it is. But the full time MBA program, there's just deeper relationships, deeper networking, more time like geared towards the program. Um, versus the part time program. I mean, it's just like you're really just in it for the classes, get the work done, go home, repeat. So um, this is why I would encourage do the full time program if you can. If you can't quit working, try to like work, see if you could get accommodations with like a working schedule or doing part time work or whatever. But I would do it over the part time program, just because the part time program. I mean, it's more flexible. Sure, there's less opportunity costs. Yes, there you could I mean, it's awesome, really. It's great, really, for saving. It's way cheaper, but you're just getting less out of it. That's just the reality of it. Um, Part-time programs don't want to advertise it. They're kind of like in it for the MBA is about networking. The whole thing is about networking, learning about business, dealing with people, doing group projects, and part-time programs like to advertise that. That's the selling point for MBAs, but they don't really give you the reality that it's gonna be like this. So yeah, um, I just have to kind of say that, you know. I mean, it's not bad. One of the benefits is, you know, you have other people working. There's also a lot of international students, older people, people that are taking career breaks. That might be the same with the full-time MBA program, but with the part-time MBA program, it's kind of like that, you know. So I mean, and the thing about working professionals is they may um they may try to help you land, like they may help you like get you referred to their company or whatever, or they could like give you insight about like their careers and stuff. But that is if, you know, the students themselves are emotionally invested. um okay, anyways, so I also wanted to talk about like diversity. I think i think there is a lot of diversity, and you just have to work with people. You have to tolerate different people. If that's not your thing, this program isn't for you. And then there's a lot of group projects, you know. It's kind of bad, and it's very bad in the part-time program, you know. It's just because like these people, they try to juggle so much they can't like manage all of it, and you know that, so they resort into cutting corners. And you know, that's ultimately like what a lot of like people are gonna do in the part-time program. I think they do want a network, they do want value from this program, but it's just so difficult for most of them to manage it. That's just the reality. So so I think that's what they ultimately do. One thing you could do as well, if you're an evening or a part-time MBA student, you could try getting involved with um like the campus. You could try like doing the surf club, ski club, or something like that. You could try joining campus clubs. You could see if you could do. I think fraternities, sororities, they might only be for undergrads, but you could like look into them. And yeah, there's intramural sports as well. That you might want to like check out. I mean, me being like an MBA student, I was 26 when I started. I was 27 when I finished. About to turn 28. So I just felt a little out of place like my first year, and just wanted to stick with the in the part-time program community, and just wanted to work. And also, you know, if I wasn't able to, you know, I was working part-time. I was working part-time during my program, but I would have worked like full-time and worked like regular hours, but I couldn't find a full-time job. So yeah, and that's good, you know, because honestly, if I worked full time, I really would have got less out of it. I attended a lot of networking events, did a lot of clubs, and ultimately had a pretty nice experience for considering I was working as well. But you know, with full time work, like the more you work, the you know, the less you're gonna get out of it. For the part-time program, I mean, typically, like we used to do 2 quarter unit classes, which is like 8 units, 2 4 unit classes. I'd say I'd say if you want to like enjoy campus life, have a social life, do your chores on time, have time for your family, friends, uh, only do 4 units. If you want to do 2 units and get out like on time or a little earlier, I would only recommend working like 20 or 30 hours, to be honest. Like, I mean, if you do like full time work and the program, what they advertise, all you'll be doing is working, and all you'll be doing is working. and just going to class. There'll be like no time for social life, no time for chores. It's doable, but it's very like stressful, tough, and it takes a big toll on your mental health. And the university doesn't even tell us that. In my second year, I did a lot of campus stuff. I was working. I had a lot of constraints in my availability. So I didn't get a chance to do like intramural sports. I briefly did like the karate club for a bit. But I was part of like some some campus clubs, nothing big. I mean, I didn't really get to like make a lot of friends on campus. It was very difficult too. So, I don't know. Maybe I was older. I didn't join or do the right clubs, or I didn't like pursue the social activities. Again, I also had like my group of friends, my family, and I wasn't like isolated like I was during my undergrad, where I had like more connections. So it was also hard just managing everything with work, with classes, my friends, too. I mean, I gotta be honest as well. But in the beginning, but the program kind of let me down socially. That's for sure. But at that point, I didn't like bother much, and like I said, where the initiation part co- was crucial, which I'll kind of talk about later. In the full time program, I don't really know. I don't know. Some could people are different. Some people could be like really responsible. Some could be good contributing group mates, and some could be like pretty like selfish. So I think there's and that's true in the part-time program as well. So I think those are just those are things that to consider. But in the part-time program, I'm sure there's probably more procrastination with like group projects. And I think in my program, a lot of like professors knew they were managing multiple things, so um they they made the classes easier than they actually were, just so they could like pass everyone. um that's just the reality. I don't know if they do it in the full time program. I can't really speak on behalf of that. But now I'll say, what was I gonna say? So I'll say this. Yeah, there's probably people who like procrastinate as well, and it just probably happens in the part time program more often. Now, investment banks, consultings, they're known to recruit more heavily in the full time program. Um, However, I feel like those those recruiters and networking, like it doesn't really work that like how people think it is. They're just there to represent the company. They're not really there to hire. There's there's like these fresh grad roles or these internships that they post, but they're advertising it so heavily, like all across the country. Not everyone's gonna make it. So the ROI in the part time and full time, honestly, I think it would have been similar. I think it would have I think it would have I think it would have been similar, to be honest, even though there was more recruiting events, networking, and that's also important. You get to learn about like people's journey, especially you going into an adult world, where you've just barely been begin your career or you're about to begin your career. It's very important, and it's very good, but truthfully, like networking doesn't work like that. And as I said, you might be able to get someone to refer you in the part-time program. It's hard to say. It doesn't really guarantee anything. Um, to be quite honest. So yeah. I think the ROI is very similar. To be very honest, just in the full time, it just seems like you're getting more out of it. There's more networking, there's more shadow days, there's more learning, more enthusiasm probably. And the part-time program is just like really a checklist. Um, so I'd say those are the differences. And a lot, this video is really going to tie back to my other video. Is college really worth it? And I'm going to link that in the description. Take a look at it if you can. But I explain like careers are closer to goods and services than they are actually to like educational aspects and theories. Like I mean, to be quite frank, when I started the MBA program, I was in a very similar place I landed up. I wanted to work corporate. I wanted to work for like the big four. I wanted to work for government. I wanted to be a manager. I had so much goals, but honestly, it just didn't hit. You know, I was last in the job market during COVID. Back in the video, please stay home, increases in COVID cases. That was the last time I was literally in the job market before the MBA program started. So I was doing very well in my career, and I thought, with good experience, good education, um, I should have some career growth, but it ultimately backfired on me. So there's a lot of things I didn't know about, and I wish I knew more of it. But so in terms of ROI, I feel like all MBAs are just the same. Really, there's not. Reality is there's not much ROI in these programs. A lot of the business jobs, the bulk of it is going to be like people running their own business, people doing sales, accounting, administrative work, customer service. Those are going to be most of the jobs. And that's just the reality of it. Like, not everyone's going to make corporate. I could also talk about some of my peers as well. So a lot of people, like, people who were working corporate switch positions. They found like their corporate jobs, but hey, they were also working corporate before that. Some people moved up to corporate. Some people got absolutely no return and did the same thing they were doing like before the program, and that's just the reality of it. So schools aren't gonna like tell you this, the way I'm telling you it. But that's just the reality. The reality of the MBA ROI, and it's just so disappointing. It happened. I thought I was gonna get like more ROI from it, and like not only that, but you know, the part-time evening MBA program, it felt like a glorified community college. Now I was a community college student. I'll be honest. I mean, a lot of the people, well, in the beginning, they showed eagerness to network. They in the intensives. Let's see. They showed that type of eagerness, but it quickly faded. And then so I was able to manage like a few LinkedIn connections, get to know some people just as like acquaintances. I made a friend like within the business program, and then I made another one from a different cohort. I only had like two friends. Like I mean, and that's just the reality. Like full time school is so much different from work. You make friends, you connect with people easier. And the part-time program is a representation of like people at work. People at work are different. They don't always get along. They're not there to be friends. So that's that's a true representation of like work. um so it's very different from the full-time program. um and you know and in community colleges, like I only made a few acquaintances, like probably less than like 10 or 15, 10 or 20. um I mean, I did get like phone numbers, added them on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, so social media. But unlike the program, the MBA program, I had like over 100 connections on LinkedIn. But did I really get to know them that well? Not really. Not outside of class. In the beginning, they did like a lot of social activities. We got to know each other a bit, but that's it. It quickly faded in a month. And then, like, for the full time MBA program, not everyone's going to be friends with each other. Not everyone's going to network with each other. However, there are more social activities, study groups, and it just keeps on going throughout the 2 years or however time you're there. There are mixers, parties, you name it. And then with the part time program, there's nothing like that. It's not your typical MBA full time MBA experience. So I'd say like in conclusion, like the full time MBA program, it's despite like having the label of like not being flexible to work. It's just a downright better program than the part time MBA. You're getting more of your money's worth. Quite frankly. With the full time program, you're not exactly with the part time program. I mean, it just feels like a community college. Um, so yeah, that's kind of my spiel. So in terms of classes, I recommend doing if you can. I would recommend let's see. In my program, I liked negotiations. That's a class I never took before. A lot of it was common sense, but I really liked the activities, the exercises we did. Python and SQL. That's important in data analysis, and it's also good like background to know for accounting too, because accountants have to deal with a lot of data. So accounting something that I or SQL, Python, and then I just love pricing. Pricing was such a good elective. Um, and then because we taught I just enjoy the cases. I like some of the marketing classes, or at least one of them. A lot of them felt very repetitive. But one of them I just enjoyed the cases, the projects, very applied. The curriculum was very like hands on, we were like dealing reading about real cases, but if you work you if you worked in a corporate environment before, where you have like a large share and a large responsibility in your company's growth, you would have like seen this all. I've seen this all when I was working. So you know but I still liked it. I still thought it was great. It was great reading about like different industries, different companies. Yeah, those are the um, things I really have to say about the MBA and what my thoughts are. And again, as a disclaimer, this is just my opinion. I mean, some people may disagree with me, some might. But these are also things I wish I kind of knew before starting the program. And like I said, I mean, with college too, I kind of said that. Like the degrees, the names, college is just a name. It's just a paper. It's just like something you achieved. It shows something as like a benchmark. But really, I mean, it's not the end all be all. It's much more than the name. It's just like one thing. It's just one credential basically. And so here's my final recommendations. Um, I would recommend the part time program if you don't really care much about socializing, networking, and your company pays for it, or you just need it for like a promotion, which honestly it's pretty rare. But I would recommend that. Full time, I would say, again, if you know you want to be a consultant or a manager, um, or like an analyst, or if you want to go that path. But you don't really need that. And honestly, like I said, you don't need a degree to pursue these business jobs. So, but if you want to network and like relive an undergrad experience, and if you want that full time experience and like you want to connect, really do have that network, it's fantastic for that. But the part time, I don't recommend it for that. And then online, I mean, you don't have to commute. You don't have to show there in person. Geographical location, geographical flexibility. I don't know much about it. But yeah. And then another thing you can consider is like um working while you're doing the full-time MBA program, but also try to finish try to take more classes and finish that full-time MBA program faster. um that could definitely be an option. And then what else? Yeah, I think that's really about it. Well, thanks for listening. Take care. And also, I just want to talk about the part-time evening MBA student life. Um, there's just not a lot of clubs there too. There's not a lot of there is some networking events. Some there are quite a bit of networking events in here and there and stuff. But it's just not like the full time. It's probably not like the full time. The clubs, they don't there's not a single club I believe that has like weekly or active meetings. They just host like some events. And we have like some guest speakers from like companies. There's no like executives or recruiters there. It wasn't like my undergrad program where the clubs actually had like executives and like recruiters and HR there. So that's I guess I don't know if that would have been the same in the full time program, but just wanted to throw that out there.